Hello, and welcome to the Sleepy Survival Stories channel. Tonight, as the world grows quiet and the last lights of the city fade, you and I step gently into thinner air. Imagine the room around you softening into a high, silent valley, where the sky is deep as ink and the stars feel almost close enough to touch. Far above, two great pyramids of rock and ice greet the night. Everest, bright with lanterns and voices, and K2, a darker silhouette, alone and listening. You do not have to climb them, you only have to rest beneath them. High on the world's spine, people once came for glory, records, headlines. Tonight we come for something gentler, to listen to the quiet courage of those who walked where the air itself can hardly stay, and to the unseen hands that held them when the rope of strength grew thin. These mountains have watched triumph and tragedy, but they have also watched love, loyalty, and the stubborn glow of hope in the coldest darkness. As you lie wherever you are, picture a small camp light glowing against the great dark walls of K2. The lamp does not argue with the night, it just shines, modest and steady. You're that light now, a small, steady flame in the shelter of blankets, held by the presence of this story. You do not need to prove anything to the sky. If your mind wants to wander, let it drift like a slow curtain of cloud along a ridge. Thoughts can appear and fade without effort. With every breath, feel yourself drawn a little closer to stillness, as if you were listening to distant prayer flags whispering in a calm, high wind. Tonight, we will walk softly through a landscape of survival and sacrifice, of risk and reverence, not to stir fear, but to remember the quiet strength that lives inside the human spirit. We will stand in thought beside the savage mountain, and instead of shouting at it, we will simply bow our heads. You are not here to conquer summits, you are here to be accompanied. So settle a little deeper into whatever holds you. Let your shoulders release, your jaw loosen, your hands grow warm and quiet. The night is wide, the story is patient, and there is time enough for every breath. You are here to rest, to breathe, and to be held in a story larger than yourself. Before the storm, before the headlines and the sorrow, there is simply a number whispered on the wind. 8,848. The height of Everest, roof of the world, place where the sky leans close. People hear that number and feel something stir, a small flame of what if in the quiet of their chest. They imagine standing above the clouds as if they were waves, a brief island of human presence in a sea of air. Yet even as they dream, the mountain remains still, indifferent and calm. Tonight you don't have to chase that height. You only have to feel your own breath rise and fall, a gentler summit within your ribs. Everest became a kind of shining theatre of dreams. Millionaires, homemakers, coders and teachers all walked the same long path toward its icy crown. Guides set up tents like small villages in the sky. Tea steamed in cups at 5,000 meters, and satellite phones hummed in the cold. It was as if the world had built a balcony on the edge of heaven and started selling tickets. Yet beneath the bustle and the noise, the mountain stayed ancient, patient, watching quietly. As you listen, imagine those busy camps fading into silence, leaving only night, stars, and your own slow heartbeat, steady as a drum in a distant monastery. Then there is K2, only a little lower on the map, but living in a different kind of story. Climbers speak its name more softly, like someone mentioning a strict, unpredictable teacher. There are no long lines here, no crowds, no easy paths, only steep walls and thin air, a sharp pyramid of ice that seems to cut straight into the sky. Those who come are not tourists, but pilgrims of effort, bringing years of practice in their muscles and weathered maps in their minds. K2 does not invite everyone. It asks without words, how much are you willing to give? Tonight, you're asked for nothing but your trust in this gentle darkness. People describe Everest and K2 with numbers. Summits counted, seasons tallied, leaves lost. They say Everest takes perhaps 1 out of 50 who try, while K2 may claim 1 in 4. Cold figures, like stones stacked at the edge of a path. But behind each number is a face that once laughed, a pair of hands that tied laces and held letters from home. When we speak of these mountains, we are really speaking of love, of risk taken for a dream, of families waiting in warm kitchens far below. Let that truth soften you. You don't need to solve the math of danger. Just breathe and let gratitude settle over you like a warm blanket of snow. On Everest, the world learned to package a dream. Summit in 45 days, the posters promised, like a cruise beyond the clouds. People arrived with suitcases of gear and hearts full of urgency, believing that money and modern tools could tame the thin, wild air. Chefs rolled sushi at 7,000 meters, and hot tea steamed in insulated cups as Wi-Fi signals floated through frost. Yet above the last camp, where each step feels like walking through water, no advertisement can carry you, only breath, only will. As you lie here, let go of any noisy promises you've heard in your own life. You don't have to perform. You're allowed to simply rest. In the glow of that industry, Sherpa men and women carried much of the unseen weight. They hauled oxygen, tents, ropes, and sometimes the quiet fears of those who followed behind them. Many moved with a grace born of childhood at altitude, breathing easily where others gasped. Their names were seldom printed in headlines, but their footprints traced the true spine of the route. Some never came home, giving their strength and their lives for someone else's dream. Think of them for a moment, like silent lanterns along an icy path. Breathe in slowly, honoring all who have ever carried burdens for another. Breathe out and let someone carry you, just for tonight. K2 stood apart from this bright commerce, like a monastery on a distant cliff. No movie tents, no showers, no long queues, only a scatter of shelters on hard, creaking ice, stoves hissing in thin air, and climbers cooking their own simple meals. Here, there are no clients, only partners. Everyone ties their own knots, everyone shares the risk. A mistake cannot be passed to a guide or a company. It is held lightly in one's own gloved hands. This is why the mountain feels so solemn. It strips away all illusions until only truth remains. As you rest, imagine your own life gently simplified, down to breath, heartbeat, and the quiet knowledge that you are enough. Some call K2 a factory of bad weather, a place where storms are born like wild thoughts and sent spinning across the range. Clear morning skies can darken in a breath. Gentle winds can roar without warning. Climbers learn to listen not just with their eyes, but with something deeper, a sense for the mountain's shifting mood. Turn back or go on, wait or climb. Each choice becomes a prayer offered to the unseen. Sometimes the wisest step is the one taken downward. Tonight, you don't have to choose any dangerous ridge. The only decision before you is soft and kind. To stay, to breathe, to let the night hold you, exactly where you are. High above the Khumbu icefall on Everest, The path threads between towers of ice, seracs stacked like fragile cathedrals. There, avalanches come without warning, a sudden roar that turns the sky white. In one heartbeat, 16 Sherpa men once vanished beneath a falling wall of snow and shattered ice. Their workday turned into legend. For those who watched from below, the mountain's laughter sounded hollow and cruel. Yet even in that grief, teams gathered to dig, to weep, to hold one another. On these slopes, love often shows itself in the simplest way, staying near, not running away. As you inhale, imagine all such sorrows gathered into a gentle, healing light. On K2, tragedy often arrives in the narrow places, the bottleneck, where a single rope hangs under a ceiling of ice. Climbers clip in one by one, trusting that thin line to carry all their weight and all their hopes. One day, a serac above them broke, and thousands of tons of ice swept the slope clean. Ropes vanished. 11 lives were scattered across the mountain in a single merciless day. Yet even there, some turned back into danger to help others, giving jackets, fixing new lines, choosing compassion over safety. The savage mountain watched, unchanging, while human hearts quietly shone brighter than any summit. Let that thought soften your chest as you settle deeper into rest. As you listen now, let your breathing slow, like a careful climber pausing between steps to study the sky. Feel the soft weight of your blankets as a safe camp against the winds of the world, your pillow a small island of warmth on a wide frozen glacier. You do not need to untangle every rope of memory tonight. You do not need to relive old storms or predict new ones. Each inhale is a lantern being lit. Each exhale is a burden laid gently down in the snow. If thoughts come, let them drift past like distant headlamps on a ridge, seen for a moment, then gone. You're not here to conquer summits. You are here to be carried by this quiet story, to rest in the shelter of the high, holy night. On Everest's upper slopes, climbers enter the realm they call the death zone, where the air holds only a thin whisper of oxygen. Up there, every step feels like lifting a stone with your own body, and even simple thoughts grow slow and heavy. Yet people still line up along a narrow ridge, headlamps glowing in a fragile string of light above the dark world. In recent years, queues have formed even here, hundreds waiting as if at a checkout line in a supermarket of clouds. As you breathe now, feel how precious each easy breath is. You do not have to earn it. You're already allowed to be here. Sometimes, in those crowded lines, the dream of the summit begins to blur. A climber may stand for hours, oxygen running low, fingers numbing, heart asking quietly, "Is this worth it?" On one such day, many did not come back, their bodies unable to carry the weight of waiting in that cold procession. Yet even in such quiet disasters, there are hands reaching out, guides sharing air, strangers steadying one another over icy steps. The mountain may not forgive mistakes, but human beings still choose kindness in thin air. Let that kindness touch you tonight like a warm wind, loosening whatever tightness you still carry in your chest. Among the stories that drift down from Everest, some glow like small miracles. A doctor named Beck once collapsed in a storm, blinded and frozen, left behind because everyone believed his life had already ended. But hours later, he rose from the snow, staggering back toward camp through wind and shadow. He lost parts of himself to frostbite, yet found a deeper gratitude for being alive. His message to the world became simple: coming home matters more than any summit. As you lie here, imagine that same miracle inside you. not of walking through a storm, but of gently waking to the value of your own quiet, breathing life. K2's miracles are harsher, quieter, often unseen. On that black day when the Serek fell and ropes vanished, some climbers chose to stay with the wounded instead of fleeing. A Dutch alpinist wrapped his jacket around shivering teammates and refused to leave them, even as his own strength faded. High-altitude workers from Pakistan risked everything to fix new lines, so a few could descend. The mountain took many of them, yet their courage became part of its silent scripture. Tonight, you do not need to face such choices. It is enough to remember that somewhere, even in the coldest places, people still choose love over safety, and let that remembrance lull you towards sleep. On the slopes of Everest, the Sherpa people move like quiet guardians of the route. They fix ropes at dawn, carry loads that would crush most shoulders, and guide uncertain steps through the most fragile ice. Their death rate is far higher than that of the visitors they protect, yet their names rarely appear in headlines. One of them once said, "Everest gives me bread but takes my brothers." In that simple sentence lives a world of love and loss. As you inhale, honor all those unseen helpers who have ever carried another's weight. As you exhale, allow yourself to be helped too, by gravity, by blankets, by rest. Over decades, the commercial tide has left scars on Everest. Torn tents frozen in place, empty oxygen bottles scattered like metallic petals, and bodies that could not be brought down. For a long time, one unknown climber in bright boots lay beside the route, a silent landmark that people called Green Boots. He was no longer a tourist or a statistic, just a human being held by ice. Recovery is costly, dangerous, often impossible, so the mountain keeps its dead like snowbound memorial stones. Tonight, if any image troubles you, let it soften, blur, and drift away. Hold only this: every life, including yours, is quietly precious. If Everest has become a crowded mirror of our modern hunger for achievement, K2 remains a more private question. It does not offer comfort or fame to many. Only the most seasoned climbers come to its base, their resumes already filled with summits and storms. They do not arrive expecting safety, they arrive seeking truth. On K2, there are no glossy promises, only the sharp line between survival and surrender. Some call it the hardest of all the 8,000ers, the mountain that tolerates no first mistakes. Yet for those who return, the lesson is often gentle, that humility is stronger than pride, and that turning back can be a sacred act. Even the approach to each mountain tells a different story. The trail to Everest winds past tea houses and prayer wheels, bridges draped with flags that whisper blessings in the wind. Base camp there is like a small, colourful city on ice, tents glowing at night like a string of low stars. K2's approach is wilder, a long walk over grinding glaciers, past rock and silence, until a modest cluster of tents appears beneath a steep, shadowed wall. No movie nights, no cafes, only stoves, sleeping bags, and the steady breath of people who know exactly where they are. As you settle deeper into your own base camp of pillows and sheets, feel how little you truly need: warmth, air, and the quiet permission to rest. On Everest, many who climb are visitors in the truest sense: software developers, homemakers, business leaders, people whose usual summits are meetings and deadlines. They arrive with careful training plans and rented gear, trusting expert guides to lead them across ladders and through Serek mazes. Experience is helpful, but not always demanded. As long as hearts and wallets are willing, the way is opened. This makes Everest strangely human, flawed, crowded, full of hope and misjudgment. Some stand on the top and feel reborn. Others turn back, learning that their true strength is knowing when to stop. As you breathe in, remember that turning back in your own life does not mean failure. As you breathe out, feel your body accept that truth. K2 gathers a different kind of pilgrim. Those who walk toward its base carry long histories of storms and narrow escapes carved into their memories. They have already climbed other giants, already learned to read the language of the sky. Here there are no clients, only equals tied to the same rope. Money cannot buy a step of safety. Fame cannot shield a single finger from frost. The mountain strips away all illusions, leaving only skill, courage, and the quiet honesty to say not today when danger speaks. Many arrive and then simply wait, watching clouds, listening to wind, aware that surviving may mean never touching the summit at all. As you lie here, allow yourself that same freedom, the freedom to wait, to pause, to rest without apology. Now, let the story loosen and settle like snow after a long fall. Feel your breath move slowly in and out like the soft rise and dip of a glacier under starlight. Imagine you're in a quiet tent far above the valleys of noise and obligation, a small lamp glowing beside you, its light warm against canvas the colour of midnight. Outside, towering shapes of Everest and K2 keep their silent watch, but they are no longer threats, only distant guardians, ancient and vast. Inside, it is safe. You hear only the hush of your own breathing and the calm murmur of this tale. You do not have to climb tomorrow. You do not have to prove your worth to any peak, any person, any expectation. With each exhale, let a little more weight slide away. Old fears, old comparisons, old demands. Let them fall into the valley and be gone. Tonight there is only this, your heart still beating, your lungs still working, your spirit quietly glowing in the dark like a campfire under the high, indifferent stars. Long before traffic jams in the death zone and crowded base camps, there was a quieter moment on the roof of the world. In 1953, Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay stepped together onto Everest's summit, just two figures alone in the thin blue light. They stayed only a brief half hour, took a few simple photographs, and then turned back toward the valleys and the people who loved them. The world called them heroes, symbols of what humans could do. Yet in their own hearts, they knew the climb was not just conquest, but service, to a dream, to one another, to the mountain itself. Let that image reassure you. Greatness can be calm, humble, and brief. In the decades that followed, Everest slowly changed. What began as a single difficult pilgrimage became a busy road in the sky. Permits, packages, fixed ropes, satellite forecasts, and glossy brochures turned the mountain into a destination, a product, a promise. Everest in 45 days, the slogan said, like an itinerary on a travel website. But the cost behind those tidy numbers was never tidy. Tired guides pushing on, Sherpas risking more each season, families waiting by silent phones. The mountain never agreed to the advertising, it simply remained itself, cold, high, exacting. As you lie here, remember that not every offer in life is as safe as it sounds, and that you are allowed to choose gentler paths. One year, in perfect morning weather, several teams set out for Everest's top under the guidance of two legendary leaders. Rob Hall and Scott Fisher had built their lives around helping others reach that thin line of sky. They knew the rules of safety, turnaround times, weather windows, the delicate balance between courage and caution. But on that famous day, schedules slipped, crowds formed, and the temptation to go just a little higher whispered to many hearts. When the storm finally arrived, it did not announce itself with drama, only a slow thickening of cloud, a wind that sharpened, visibility draining away like light from a room. Remember this as you rest. Sometimes wisdom is the quiet decision to stop before the storm. In that long, terrible night, stories of heartbreaking loss unfolded on those ridges, yet woven among them were threads of astonishing endurance and love. A guide went back again and again into the blizzard to search for lost climbers, moving by instinct where no path could be seen. A dying leader stayed with his client, refusing to abandon him, even when it meant never coming home. A man left for dead rose from the snow and walked back into the world, forever changed. These are not just tales of danger, they are reminders of how fiercely humans can care for one another, even when everything is stripped away. As you breathe now, let that caring surround you like a soft, invisible sleeping bag, zipped up to your chin, keeping you warm. On the high ridges of Everest, the 1996 storm became more than a single event. It turned into a kind of parable, whispered in climbing tents for years. Guides began to speak differently about risk. Clients listened more closely when someone said, "Turn around time." Books were written, films created, all trying to explain what had happened in that white, roaring night. Yet beneath all the analysis lies something simple. In thin air, the line between courage and stubbornness is very narrow, and love sometimes looks like the decision to go down. As you rest here, let that truth sink in. Choosing to step back can be an act of deep, quiet bravery. Everest's story is now woven with images of crowds, long shining lines of headlamps stretching across snow like a string of fallen stars. In some photos, climbers stand shoulder to shoulder at the summit, each person chasing their own reason for being there, a promise to a child, a lifelong dream, a need to prove something to themselves. The mountain receives them all without judgment, but the air cannot be shared so easily. Oxygen runs low, time slips by, and some pay a price they never fully imagined. Tonight, no one is behind you, no one is ahead. You're not in a queue, you're exactly where you need to be. K2, by contrast, rarely appears crowded in any photograph. Most images show only a lonely figure crossing a steep slope, or a pair of climbers dwarfed by a towering wall of ice. It is not that fewer people dream of K2, it is that the mountain itself refuses most visitors. The statistics are stark. 1 in 4 who reach the summit never make it home, but the numbers do not show the inner cost. The night spent listening to wind tear at the tent, the patience of turning back after weeks of effort, the silent understanding that survival here is already a victory. As you breathe, imagine offering yourself that same compassion, honouring the paths you have walked, even when they did not end where you first hoped. Some of K2's most haunting stories come from days that began in perfect weather. Clear blue sky, gentle breeze, every sign suggesting a safe summit push. Climbers from many nations start upward together, their hopes intertwined like strands of rope. They reach the top, take their brief moments of joy, and begin the long descent towards safety. Then, with no warning, ice collapses, ropes vanish, and the simple act of going down becomes the hardest thing in the world. Yet even in that chaos, there are people who give away their warm layers, who risk their own lives to fix new lines for strangers. The savage mountain remains unmoved, but the human spirit glows there like embers in the snow. Let that glow warm you now, soft and steady, as your body sinks deeper into rest. In the years after that storm, the world began to see Everest not only as a summit, but as a mirror. On its ridges, ambition and humility stand side by side like two climbers roped together. Some arrive determined to conquer the peak, only to discover that the real struggle is with their own limits, their own fears. Others come quietly and leave even quieter, grateful simply to have walked among such heights and returned. Guides adjust their rules, teams speak more candidly about risk, and a new understanding takes root, that no amount of technology can erase the wildness of thin air. Let that thought ease you. Some things in life are not meant to be controlled, only respected. Far away, under the harsher sky of the Karakoram, K2 stands as a kind of final exam for the soul. Those who come here have spent years learning to read snow textures, to sense storm changes by the taste of the wind. They know that on this mountain there are no second chances. The first misstep may be the last. Yet they still come, not chasing fame, but answering a quiet call within. They speak of K2 as a teacher that strips away pride and pretense, leaving only the truth of who you are when no one is watching. As you rest, imagine your own life seen that way, not as a test to pass, but as a slow revealing of your true, gentle strength. On K2's steep flanks, teamwork is not a slogan. It is the difference between coming home and vanishing into the clouds. Climbers share fuel, rope, food, and stories, knowing that any one of them may need help by nightfall. There are unwritten rules. Never lie about your condition. Never leave a partner without a fight. Never claim more than you gave. In storms, national flags fade and only human hands remain, reaching out for one another in the dark. This code, born of danger, is strangely tender. Tonight, feel yourself included in such a rope team of spirits, supported, connected, never truly alone on the mountain of your own life. Higher up the range, another story drifts like snow over the years. Two small figures on Everest's upper slopes long ago, moving toward a summit no one can prove they reached. Some say they stood on top before anyone else, others doubt it. Their bodies eventually lay hidden in the ice, their camera missing, their final view known only to the mountain. But whether they touched the highest point or not, they carried something timeless, the willingness to walk into the unknown for the sake of a dream. As you breathe, let your own unanswered questions rest for a while. Not every mystery must be solved tonight. Some can simply be held softly in the dark. As the story pauses here, let your breathing slow again, like a climber stopping to watch clouds unravel around a ridge. Feel the bed beneath you as firm, safe ground. Feel your blankets as a warm sleeping bag zipped snug against the chill of old worries. You do not need to replay every ascent and descent of your day. You do not need to decide which dreams are high enough or whether you are moving fast enough. For this moment, there are no heights to measure, no maps to study, only the gentle rise and fall of your chest, the steady rhythm of your heart. Imagine distant peaks fading into soft silhouettes under a starry sky, their sharp edges blurred by night. They will still be there tomorrow. For now, you're allowed to set down your pack, close your eyes, and let the quiet carry you a little further towards sleep. In the shadow of K2 stands a place that is not a camp and not a summit, but something in between. A rough wall of stone covered in metal plaques. Names, dates, a few short lines of love are etched there, shining dully in the thin light. This is the memorial for those who never came down, a hillside of memory that grows a little each year. Climbers pass it on their way up and pause, gloves on cold rock, breath hanging in the air. They know they are reading a possible future, and yet there is no horror in it, only a profound quiet. It is a reminder that every step is precious, every return a blessing. Among the names remembered by those stones are women who walked bravely into the highest winds. Some of the first to stand on K2's summit later vanished on other peaks, as if the mountain had marked them in some mysterious way. People spoke of a curse, but perhaps it is simpler than that. These were spirits drawn again and again to the edge of the sky. They accepted the true cost of their calling. Tonight, you need not go to any such edge. You can honor their courage from afar simply by breathing deeply, grateful for the steady ground beneath you. There is another kind of story on these mountains, the story of those who give everything and ask nothing in return. A young Italian once spent a frozen night on K2's flank without a tent, sharing his body warmth with a porter who would otherwise have slipped quietly into the dark. While others went onto the summit in the medals, he descended with frostbitten hands and a heart heavy with betrayal, his part in the victory hidden. Years later, the truth emerged, and the world finally called him what he had always been, a guardian in the storm. As you rest, remember that the greatest acts in your own life may be the ones no one applauds, the moments of kindness no one sees. Far below the summits and scandals, on every expedition there are simple scenes that never make it into books. A shared cup of tea at dawn, a rope adjusted with gentle hands, a joke whispered in a cramped tent to chase away fear. In those small human moments, the mountains become less like enemies and more like vast, silent witnesses to friendship. You too have your small kindnesses, times you listened, times you stayed, times you reached out. Let those memories come to you now like soft lanterns along an evening path, guiding you not upward but inward, toward peace. Once more, notice your breathing, how it moves without being forced. Cool air in, warm air out, like the slow tide of clouds around a high peak. Imagine that with each exhale, a little more of the day's weight leaves your shoulders and drifts away down some distant valley. Worries, comparisons, unfinished tasks, they can wait in the lowlands. Up here, in this quiet space of story and night, you are safe. The mountains keep their long, solemn watch on the horizon, but they do not demand anything of you. You are not on their slopes. You are in your own warm shelter, wrapped in softness, allowed, completely allowed, to let go and drift a little closer to sleep. Some climbers speak of Everest and K2 as if they were two very different kinds of tests. Everest, they say, is like a vast, dangerous highway, busy, mapped, patrolled by guides and helicopters and weather reports. Many who travel it have never truly lived in mountains before. They come from offices and suburbs, from classrooms and crowded cities, carrying their training plans and their hopes. The danger is real, but often it is human. Poor choices, exhaustion, crowds in the narrowest places. It is a place where overconfidence can be as deadly as any storm. As you breathe, let that thought soften you. You are allowed not to rush, not to push, not to crowd your own heart. K2, by contrast, is more like a thin, icy path along a cliff with no guardrail and no lights. Only those who have spent years on lesser ridges dare to set foot there. They arrive with calloused hands, practiced instincts, and a deep awareness that skill does not guarantee survival. Here, death comes not from traffic jams or inexperience, but from nature's sudden, precise strikes. An ice tower collapsing without sound, a stone loosened by a sliver of sunshine, a gust of wind that appears from nowhere. There is very little room for arrogance, and no room at all for shortcuts. Imagine offering yourself the same honesty, recognizing where your own edges lie, and treating them with respect instead of shame. The numbers underline this contrast. On Everest, a small percentage of climbers are lost, yet over the years that small number has grown into hundreds of lives. An endless roll call of voices that once laughed and planned and loved. On K2, far fewer stand on the summit, but a quarter of those who do will never walk back through camp, never again feel warm ground under their boots. Statistics try to turn this into something tidy, but the truth resists neatness. Each figure is a missing seat at a table, a message never answered, a story abruptly ending in white. As you exhale, let any urge to measure or compare your own struggles drift away. Pain is never just a number. Yet if you listen beneath the harshness, both mountains whisper the same lesson. They say that money cannot buy safety, that expertise cannot cancel uncertainty, that there will always be forces larger than our plans. They remind us that ambition, however bright, must bow before weather, before altitude, before the simple limits of a beating heart. And they show, again and again, that even in the coldest places humans still share, still rescue, still sit awake all night beside a friend. Let that thought move through you like a slow, warm current. You are small, yes, but you are also deeply, quietly connected. Take a deeper breath now, as if you were standing at the edge of a high camp, looking out over a sleeping world of clouds. Feel the coolness of the inhale, the softness of the exhale. Imagine the sharp outlines of Everest and K2 fading into silhouettes, their fierce reputations softened by moonlight. They are no longer tests or threats, only distant, patient giants watching over the valleys below. In one of those valleys, in one quiet room, you are lying safe and held. You do not have to decide which peak is deadlier, which dream is worthy, which path is correct. For tonight, the only path you walk is the short, gentle one from waking into rest, from thought into stillness, from effort into peace. Picture a clear morning on K2, the kind that tempts even the most cautious heart. These skies are deep, polished blue. The wind is calm enough that prayer flags, if there were any, would hang almost still. Climbers from many countries clip into the same fragile rope, moving slowly toward the summit. Cameras are ready, flags folded in pockets close to the heart. In that early light, everything feels possible. They do not know that above them, a great tower of ice is already cracking in ways no one can hear, that fate is quietly rearranging itself. It is often like this in life too. Our brightest days can hold secrets we cannot yet see. As the day unfolds, they reach the top in small groups: Norwegian, Korean, Dutch, Irish, Pakistani, French, Serbian souls, each tasting the thin sweetness of standing on the second highest point on earth. There are smiles, brief embraces, perhaps a few tears that freeze almost at once. They look out over a sea of peaks, feeling both very small and very full. No one stays long, the air will not allow it. They turn downward, believing the hardest part is behind them. But on K2, the descent is often the true test. the long steep path back to the world of grass and rivers and voices. Then comes the sudden shatter. A serac above the bottleneck collapses, a silent ceiling turning into an avalanche of ice. In moments, the fixed ropes are ripped away, the only clear line of return erased as if by an unseen hand. Climbers find themselves stranded on a near-vertical slope in the death zone, oxygen running low, night approaching. They must choose between attempting a ropeless descent or waiting in the cold for help that may never arrive. It is a choice no one should have to make, yet mountains sometimes force exactly these decisions. Life also brings such narrow places where every option feels painful. Remember, even then, the heart can still choose compassion. On that terrible night, some gave away their jackets, their last strength, their hopes of survival, in attempts to save others. High-altitude workers descended to fetch new ropes, climbing back up into danger again and again. A Dutch climber stayed with freezing teammates, trying to warm them with his own breath. A Pakistani fixer died while creating a new line that would bring others down. An Irishman filmed until the end, his camera later found beside him, holding his final view of the mountain he loved. The savage peak claimed many, yet their courage lit tiny fires in the dark, fires that still flicker in the stories we tell. Let your breathing match the rhythm of that distant, compassionate courage, slow, steady, unwavering. Inhale as if you're drawing in the cold, clean air of a high camp at night. Exhale as if you're releasing the fear that once clung to your ribs. Outside your window there may be no mountains, no glaciers, no seracs waiting above, but there are still narrow places in your heart, old losses, old climbs. Tonight, you do not have to relive them or fix them. You can simply acknowledge them, like distant peaks on the horizon, and then turn gently inward. Feel the bed beneath you as solid as rock, your blankets as safe as a sturdy tent. You're off the mountain now. You're on the soft ground of this moment, and you are allowed to rest. Everest and K2 are often compared like rival legends, but in truth they are more like two different kinds of prayers. Everest is a loud request spoken in many languages, rising from a crowded congregation of hopeful hearts. It says, "Let me reach higher than I ever have before." K2 is a quieter whisper, made by fewer voices, often in solitude. It says, "Let me know who I truly am when everything else falls away." Both prayers are heard by the same cold sky, answered not with words but with weather, with time, with the fragile gift of one more breath. On the path to Everest, you pass through villages where children run beside you, shouting greetings, cheeks red from the mountain air. Prayer flags flutter from rooftops, and spinning wheels send mantras into the wind. The mountain is woven into daily life here, a sacred neighbour. On the way to K2, the land feels wilder, the settlements fewer, the silence thicker. You trek along rock and glacier, following rivers that have no bridges, tracing a route that feels more like a question than a road. One journey invites you through culture and ritual. The other leads you through emptiness and raw stone. Both are beautiful in their own way. Base camp on Everest can feel like a small city at the edge of the sky. Tents glow at night in many colours, voices mingle in a dozen accents, and the scent of food rises faintly in the cold air. Laughter, music, the crackle of radios and stoves. It is a strange blend of adventure and festival. On K2, base camp is spare, almost austere. A handful of tents, the hiss of a few burners, conversation kept low to save energy and breath. There are no movie nights, no heated dining domes, only the essentials. If Everest's base camp is a marketplace of dreams, K2's is a monastery of intent. The people who gather in these places may seem very different, but they share something deep, the willingness to step far outside the warm circle of the familiar. Some have climbed for decades, others have just begun. Some seek records, others seek healing, others simply seek themselves. Many will discover that the mountains give answers in unexpected ways. Some are sent home early by weather or illness. Some are turned around a few hundred meters from the top. Yet with time, a quiet realization often settles in, that the value of the journey lies less in the summit than in who you become while striving. Let that realization reach you here, far from any ice or rope. You have your own peaks, goals, fears, memories that look steep in the dark. You may feel at times that you are not climbing fast enough, not achieving enough, not summiting as others seem to do. But tonight, as your body grows heavier, against the mattress, imagine another truth. Imagine that every kind choice, every moment of endurance, every time you turned back to protect yourself or someone you love, has been its own quiet mountain. You have already crossed blizzards of doubt, crevasses of loss, thin air of uncertainty. You are still here. You are still breathing. So breathe a little slower now. Inhale as though you're drawing in the clear, cold peace of a high plateau. Exhale as if you're sending out a soft blessing over all the peaks of your past. The world outside can wait. The mountains, with all their storms and stories, will still be there tomorrow. For now, let them shrink to distant silhouettes on the horizon of your mind, while you pitch your inner tent in a calm, sheltered valley. Here, beneath an unseen canopy of stars, you are safe, you are held, and you are gently being led further into rest. K2 is not democratic in that way. It is a gate that opens only to those who have spent long seasons learning how ice breaks, how snow settles, how rock speaks beneath their hands. To reach its base, most have already stood on many other summits, already turned back in many other storms. They do not come for selfies or records. They come because there is a part of them that only awakens in such remote, unsoftened places. Here, commercial polish falls away. There are no guarantees, no promises of success. The mountain offers nothing but a question. Will you climb with honesty and accept whatever answer I give? On Everest, bottled oxygen hangs from racks in tents like silver fruit, ready for those who will need its invisible sweetness higher up. Guides plan carefully how many cylinders each client will use, how many extra will wait at each camp. That oxygen makes survival more likely, but it can also give a dangerous confidence, as if technology alone could neutralize the mountain. On K2, the steepness and effort make those heavy bottles a burden rather than a blessing. Many climb without them, lungs straining in raw air, minds sharpening in the thinness. They know that no mask, no hose, no regulator can truly soften the edge of that peak. Some tools help, none remove the mystery. And beneath all this, there is the quiet wound of what humans leave behind. On Everest's more trodden paths, the scars are visible, discarded gear frozen into place, old tents flattened and buried under seasons of snow, metal canisters dulled by ice. Even the bodies that could not be brought down become landmarks, then slowly, reverently, are moved when it is possible. K2, with fewer visitors, has fewer relics, but its memorial wall grows just the same. The earth remembers in different ways, through trash, through stone, through the stories people carry back to their kitchens and living rooms far away. If you close your eyes now, imagine walking along a high ridge made only of your own memories. On one side, the Everest moments of your life. Crowded days, busy schedules, long lines of tasks and expectations. On the other, the K2 moments. Solitary challenges, hard truths faced in silence. Times when you felt you were inching along a narrow edge with no guide but your own instinct. Both kinds of days have shaped you. Both have asked you to be brave in different ways. You have survived busy seasons and lonely climbs. You have made choices that only you know the full weight of. Let your breath become your only summit for a while. Inhale gently, as if you were drawing in clear, starlit air on a calm night above the world. Exhale slowly, releasing the noise of crowded ridges and the tension of sharp, solitary paths. There is nothing to purchase here, nothing to prove, nothing to master. The great peaks stand far away, wrapped in their own darkness, but you do not need to go to them. Tonight they come to you only as quiet lessons, that you are small and still precious, that effort and rest both have sacred value, and that it is more than enough, in this moment, simply to lie here, breathe, and soften into sleep. On K2, many of the greatest climbers on Earth have quietly accepted defeat and walked away. They have watched the sky for weeks, reading each thread of cloud, listening to each change in the wind, and finally said, "Not this year." From far away it may look like failure. Up close, it is a profound kind of wisdom. Each retreat is a promise to return home, to see loved ones again, to keep the story going. The mountain does not hand out medals for that choice, but the heart remembers. As you rest, think of the times you too stepped back from something dangerous or draining. Those were not weak moments, they were peaks of their own. Some alpinists say that K2 teaches honesty. You cannot lie to the mountain about how tired you are, how scared you feel, how ready you truly might be. Your body will reveal the truth in each step. Your decisions will echo in the rope, in your partner's eyes. A climber once said, "On K2 you can't pretend to be strong, you either are or you're humble." That humility is not humiliation, it is clarity. Imagine offering yourself that same clarity tonight. You do not have to pretend that you are fine when you are tired or strong when you are worn. You are allowed simply to be as you are, a human being at the end of a long day, deserving of rest. In this high world, partnership becomes sacred. On K2, there are no clients and guides, only people tied to the same thin cord of fate. When one stumbles, all must respond. When one is afraid, all feel the tremor. There are stories of climbers who gave up their own oxygen so a weaker teammate might live, of others who turned back within sight of the summit to carry someone down. Their names may never trend or travel far, but up there, in the place where clouds are born, those acts glow like tiny constellations. You too have people tied to your rope, family, friends, perhaps even strangers you once helped. Let their faces appear, gently in your mind, not to worry you but to remind you that you have never climbed alone. Far away from any peak, in the quiet of this room, you can feel something similar. Your breath is your rope, your heartbeat is your partner. Your body and mind are a small team moving together through the dark toward a safe camp. There may have been days when you felt divided, pulled in many directions, mind racing while the body begged for rest. Tonight, imagine calling everyone back into one place. Picture all the parts of yourself gathering in a warm tent lit by a single steady lamp. Thoughts, memories, worries, they sit down together and stop shouting. There is room for all of them, but none needs to be solved right now. Let your breath lengthen, like a gentle traverse across a soft snow slope. Inhale slowly, feeling coolness at the tip of your nose, the expansion in your chest. Exhale even more slowly, as though you were letting go of a heavy pack and watching it settle into the snow, no longer on your shoulders. Outside, in the far, far distance of imagination, Everest and K2 stand in silver shadow, enormous and silent. They no longer ask you for effort, or courage, or sacrifice. They simply keep their watch, while you, small and beloved, lie safe in your valley of pillows and blankets. There will be other days for climbing, other hours for striving. This hour is for surrender, for softness, for letting yourself drift like a snowflake carried on a gentle night wind, closer and closer to sleep. High above the tree line, climbers sometimes speak of moments when the world narrows to just one step. Not the summit, not the next camp, only the next small movement of boot and breath. In a storm on Everest or K2, the horizon disappears, the route dissolves into swirling white, and all grand plans fall away. In that shrinking world, survival becomes simple in its own hard way. Stay warm, stay roped, stay moving if you can. Many who came back alive from such nights say they were guided by something beyond calculation, a memory of a child's face, a promise whispered long ago, a stubborn little flame of not yet in the chest. You too have such a flame, even if it burns very quietly. The mountains also teach the cost of ignoring small signs. On Everest, a slightly slower pace, a forgotten sip of water, a loose buckle can grow, hour by hour, into real danger. On K2, a faint crack in the ice, a subtle shift in the wind, can be the first note of an avalanche song. The climbers who live long learn to listen to these whispers. They turn around when their body says stop, even if their pride begs them to continue. They check on partners when a voice sounds just a little too thin. As you rest, consider the small signals in your own life, the tightness in your shoulders, the tiredness behind your eyes. Tonight, you're honoring those signals simply by being here, letting yourself unwind. There is another lesson written into the snows of Everest and K2. The power of coming home changed. Many who return from these heights do not speak much of the summit. Instead, they talk about how ordinary things began to glow. Warm water on cold hands, the weight of a blanket, the sound of familiar footsteps in a hallway. Food tasted richer, laughter felt deeper. Even a simple breath of thick lowland air seemed like a gift. You do not have to climb an 8,000er to feel this. Life has already taken you through storms and thin places of your own. Perhaps if you listen, you can feel it even now. The quiet gratitude of simply lying here, safe, with air moving easily in and out. Sometimes, climbers place small offerings at high camps. A ribbon, a prayer, a photograph tucked into a crack in the rock. These tokens are not for the mountain, they are for the heart. They say, remember why you are here, remember who you love. Down in your own valley, you have likely left similar markers without even noticing. Messages sent, apologies made, small promises kept, favourite songs shared, hands squeezed in waiting rooms. These are your cairns, your stacked stones along the trail of your days. Let them rise in your memory now, not as regrets, but as gentle proofs that you have already walked far, already cared deeply. Take another slow breath, as if you were standing at the entrance of your tent, looking out over a world made of moonlit snow. The night is vast, the peaks are countless, but here, within this small circle of warmth, everything you need is already present. Your body is tired, the honest tired that comes after effort. Your mind may still want to wander, to replay, to plan, but you can thank it softly and invite it to sit down beside the fire of your breathing. There is nothing you must climb right now, no rope you must fix, no weather you must interpret, only this quiet rhythm, this gentle rise and fall, carrying you slowly, surely toward deeper rest. On some expeditions, the greatest drama happens not in storms or near the summit, but in the quiet politics of human hearts. On both Everest and K2, there have been times when glory pulled at people like a hidden rope. Leaders afraid to disappoint clients, sponsors expecting success, reputations balanced on a single weather window. Decisions were made to push a little longer, climb a little higher, delay turning back just a few minutes more. Many analyses have been written about those choices, but tonight we do not come to judge. Instead, we simply notice how often, in our own lives, we also keep going when we are already exhausted because we fear letting someone down. As you breathe, allow yourself the kindness that some climbers never gave themselves, permission to stop before the breaking point. There are also stories of betrayal and repair, of trust lost and slowly regained. A climber who carried vital supplies through a deadly night might be blamed instead of praised, his sacrifice hidden to protect others' reputations. For years he might carry that wound quietly, while the world celebrates different names. Only later, sometimes decades later, does the truth surface, and with it a kind of delayed healing. In the mountains of your own memory, you may have stories like that too. Times when you were not seen clearly, when your effort was misunderstood. Tonight, you do not have to relive those scenes in sharp detail. You can simply acknowledge them like distant peaks in the dusk. Yes, that happened. Yes, it hurt. And yes, I am still here. These high places remind us that reputation is like snow on a ridge, beautiful but easily blown away. What lasts longer are the quieter choices, who you stayed with when they were afraid, the risks you refused to take with another's safety, the truth you spoke even when it cost you. On K2's memorial wall and in Everest's long history, many such choices are never written down, but they still shape the spirit of those mountains. In your life too, many of your most noble moments have passed without applause. You listened when someone needed to talk. You kept going when no one saw. You forgave when you could have turned cold. Let those memories warm you now, like embers in a small sheltered stove. If you listen closely, the wind around these imagined peaks carries more than the roar of storms. It carries the soft murmur of prayers, the quiet hum of mantras, the simple words people whisper when they are frightened and far from home. Please, thank you, let me see them again. Let this be enough. Up here, belief takes many forms, some formal, some wordless. A climber may bow toward a summit before clipping into a rope, or touch the ground upon returning, tears freezing on their cheeks. In your own way, you have your rituals too, small gestures that say, I hope, I care, I am grateful. Let yourself feel, just for a moment, that you are accompanied in this night by all those unseen hopes, all those whispered thanks. Now once more, let everything grow simpler. Imagine you are lying in a sleeping bag at a safe camp. far below any deadly ridge. The storm you once feared has passed. The sky above is clear and full of quiet stars. Your body is tired but safe. Your heart is softer than it was at the start of the climb. As you inhale, picture that crisp, cold air filling you with clarity. As you exhale, imagine any lingering self-judgment leaving you like a faint mist, drifting away into the dark. There is nothing you must fix before sleep, no summit you must reach in your thoughts. The night is long enough, the story gentle enough, and your spirit ready enough to begin slipping slowly and sweetly into deeper rest. There is a strange tenderness in the way climbers prepare to leave for these heights. On the last night before an Everest or K2 summit push, they lie in their thin tents listening to the hiss of stoves and the scratch of wind on nylon. Boots are lined up, crampons checked, oxygen masks tested, ropes coiled with careful hands. Some tuck small photographs into inner pockets. Others write a few lines in a journal or whisper a message into the darkness meant for someone far below. Many will never speak of those final thoughts. They are too private, too sacred. But almost all of them, in one form or another, say the same thing. Let me come home. In lower camps, far from the death zone, there are people waiting and watching the sky. Cooks who have learned the names of their teams, porters who joke to hide their concern, doctors who know the fragile limits of human bodies at altitude. Whenever the radio crackles, hearts tighten for a moment. News from above travels slowly, sometimes distorted by static, sometimes delayed by hours that feel like years. What begins as an adventure soon blurs into something deeper, a web of care stretching from the summit routes all the way down to the last village in the valley. You too are held in such webs, even if you do not always see them, circles of concern, quiet prayers, unspoken hopes that you may be well. Think of the families who sit far away from the peaks, their mountains made of waiting. In small apartments in cities, in farmhouses under low skies, in cafes where screens show tiny dots on huge maps, they check for updates, reread old messages, trace routes with their fingers. They may not know the difference between a serac and a cornice, between the Khumbu and the Karakoram, but they know the shape of love. When their climber returns, frostbitten or whole, with or without a summit, arms wrap around shoulders with the same fierce relief. You're back, they say, not did you make it, but you came home. A similar kind of love lives quietly in you. You have your own summits, difficult decisions, long projects, hard conversations that you have climbed or are still climbing. Around you, often unseen, there are people who wait for your safe return from each of these invisible journeys. A friend who notices your silence, a relative who messages, "How are you?" more than once. A stranger who smiles at you on a day when you needed it more than they could know. The high drama of ice and storm may not be yours, but the deep human wish is the same, to go out into challenge and to come back to warmth. Let your breathing become a kind of homecoming. Inhale gently, as if you were stepping back across the threshold of a house where a light has been left on for you. Feel the air entering like welcome. Exhale slowly, releasing the fatigue of distant climbs, old efforts, old worries, old perfectionism. You do not have to keep pushing upward in your thoughts. You do not have to replay every misstep or regret. The story of Everest and K2 has taught us that reaching the top is never worth more than returning safely. Tonight, returning safely means exactly this, letting your muscles soften, your jaw loosen, your thoughts grow drowsy, until you are drifting in a quiet, high valley of sleep, watched over by peaks that ask nothing more of you than to rest. There comes a moment in every long climb when the world grows very quiet inside. The chatter of gear and weather reports, of plans and expectations, fades like voices in another room. A climber might stand at the entrance of a high tent, looking out at ridges brushed with moonlight, and feel something like prayer rising without words. They think of decisions made, of faces remembered, of the thin line that separates still here from almost gone. The mountain is indifferent, but inside the human heart, a kind of sacred stillness unfolds. It is not about altimeters or records anymore. It is about being alive in this exact breath. Tonight you are invited into that same stillness, without the cold, without the risk. Imagine that you have set down every piece of gear you carry in your mind, the rope of responsibilities, the helmet of defenses, the heavy boots of old stories about who you must be. One by one you place them on the ground beside you. You step into a softer space, barefoot on snow that does not burn, clothed only in warmth that never fades. In this place, you are not a performer or a survivor or a climber. You are simply a soul breathing under a vast, kind sky. Feel your inhale as a gentle arrival, like stepping into a small circle of lantern light after a long walk in the dark. Feel your exhale as a release, like untying a knot that has been pulling at your chest for years. If a thought tries to drag you back into planning or regretting, imagine it as a distant shout from far down the valley. You can wave to it kindly and let it pass. There is no need to answer. The only voice you listen to now is quieter, deeper, the one that says, "Rest, stay, this is enough." Think of all the storms you have already lived through. They may not have involved snow or ice, but they were real. Sleepless nights, heavy losses, sharp words, hard choices. There were days when getting out of bed was its own summit push, when making one kind phone call or going to one difficult appointment felt like crossing a dangerous ridge. You may not have given yourself credit for those climbs. You may have dismissed them as just getting by. But in truth, every breath you took in those moments was an act of survival, a step forward on a steep, invisible slope. Here, beneath this imagined canopy of stars, let yourself feel a quiet respect for the person who has carried you this far. You. The one who kept going when it was lonely, who turned back from harm when it would have been easier to continue, who still, even now, is willing to seek peace. You do not have to fix everything you have lived. You do not have to name every mountain by its proper name. It is enough to acknowledge that you have walked through high, thin places and returned. Breathe in slowly, as if you were filling your lungs with the faint gold of sunrise touching snowy peaks. Breathe out gently, as if you were sending a soft blessing over every version of yourself that has ever stood in the cold. You don't have to conquer summits tonight. You are here to rest. You are here to be held in a story larger than your fears, carried not by crampons and rope, but by mercy and sleep. The mountains keep their silent watch in the distance. Closer than them, closer than your next thought, is this simple, holy rhythm of breath, guiding you down, down, into deeper and deeper calm. The mountains keep secrets the way glaciers keep ancient air, silent, untouched, waiting. On Everest, 2 young men once stepped into a cloud and never came back out, leaving behind a question that has floated for a century. Did they stand on the summit before history was ready to write their names? Search teams later found one body, clothing preserved, papers intact, but the little camera that might have held the answer was gone. Somewhere in the snow, perhaps, it still sleeps. Yet whether they made it or not feels less important than the fact that they went together, trusting one another on the edge of the sky. On K2, another man gave everything in a single frozen night. He was not the one chosen to stand on the summit. His job was to carry the weight that would make someone else's dream possible. When plans changed and he and a porter were stranded without a tent, he did what the deepest part of the human spirit always tries to do. He shared warmth, food, and hope until the dark began to lighten. Others would claim the glory. He would carry the frostbite and the silence. But in the ledger of the soul, such nights weigh heavier than medals. Stories like these remind us that the highest places are not measured only in meters above sea level. They are measured in loyalty, in self-forgetting kindness, in the quiet choice to stay with someone who cannot go as fast. You have had moments like that too, even if they looked very different. Staying up with a friend who needed to talk, showing up when you were tired, forgiving when it would have been easier to turn away. No one planted a flag on those moments. No one carved your name into stone. Still, they were summits of the heart, reached in weather only you fully remember. The more we listen to these mountain stories, the more they begin to bend back toward our own lives, like switchbacks on a long trail. Everest and K2 loom far away, yet the truths they reveal are close, that we are smaller than we think and braver than we know, that we break and heal and break again, that every life carries both storms and clear mornings. The mountains do not answer all our questions. They simply stand year after year, reminding us that endurance can be quiet, that beauty and danger often share a horizon, and that love is the only thing we are truly wise to risk ourselves for. So now, let the peaks recede a little further into the dark. Imagine their ridges softening, their sharp edges veiled in a gentle swirl of cloud. Your attention no longer needs to cling to every rope and crevasse. Bring it back instead to the small, sacred landscape of your own body resting here. Feel the weight of your head on the pillow, the way your shoulders sink a little deeper with each exhale, the easy warmth gathering in your hands and feet. As you breathe in, picture drawing a strand of starry stillness down from the high sky, letting it settle quietly in your chest. As you breathe out, release the last tensions of the day, like snow dust sliding harmlessly off a safe ledge. You do not have to answer old mysteries. You do not have to rewrite old climbs. You are allowed, completely allowed, to stop on this gentle plateau between waking and sleep, to look back on all you have survived and forward to all you have yet to become, and then to close your eyes, trusting that, for tonight, simply being here is more than enough. On both Everest and K2, there are moments when the mountain gives a small, unexpected mercy. A cloud that was building all afternoon dissolves at sunset. A wind that threatened to tear tents from the ice softens in the night. A narrow bridge of snow holds when it might have broken. Climbers who live through such moments often say, "We were lucky," but silently they feel something more, an almost sacred gratitude. They learn to stop claiming victories and start receiving them as you receive this breath. Inhale gently, as though you're accepting a gift you did not earn. Exhale slowly, as though you're saying a quiet thank you to the dark. In between the high, dangerous days, there are long stretches of waiting. On Everest, teams linger at base camp, listening for the crack of avalanches in the distance, watching plumes of snow peel off the summit. On K2, they can wait for weeks, tents half buried, boots lined up, harnesses ready, while storms roll through in endless procession. Waiting can be its own kind of climb, a test of patience, of doubt, of faith that the right window will come. You know this feeling too, waiting for news, for healing, for a season of your life to change. Tonight, you're not waiting for anything. The door you've been pressing against is allowed to close for now. Sometimes, those who return from these mountains say that the hardest part was not the thin air or the cold, but the coming back. After living where each step matters so much, where every decision is sharp, the ordinary world can feel strangely muffled. Bills, emails, small complaints, they seem tiny and huge at the same time. It takes time to learn how to walk in both worlds, the high, clear places of crisis and the low, gentle slopes of everyday life. You too have known intense seasons and quieter ones, times when everything felt urgent, and times when you weren't sure what mattered at all. As you lie here, you do not have to solve that balance. You are allowed to be between climbs, simply resting on a soft, safe ledge of time. There is a kind of wisdom that only appears when people are pushed to their edges. On Everest, it might be the moment a climber turns back just a few hundred meters from the summit, choosing life over glory. On K2, it might be the decision to descend with a partner who cannot go on, knowing that any chance at the top is slipping away with each careful step down. These choices are rarely celebrated in headlines, but they are the ones that keep hearts beating and tables full back home. Somewhere in you, that same wisdom lives, a gentle voice that says, "This is enough, not this way, come back to yourself." Tonight, you're listening to it by simply lying still. Now, imagine the whole range from Everest to K2 washed in the soft blue of pre-dawn. The lamps in high camps have gone out, the traffic on the ridges is gone, the memorial walls are quiet. The mountains are just shapes against the sky, neither kind nor cruel, only vast and silent. Down in your own valley, your room is another quiet hollow in the earth, a small sanctuary of warmth and breath. Feel how the mattress supports you, how the blanket gently anchors you, how your breath rises and falls like a peaceful, distant tide. You do not have to climb these giants in your dreams. Let them stand guard at the horizon of your mind while you walk a much easier path, down a gentle slope, through soft darkness, into a meadow of sleep where there is no altitude, no danger, only rest. There is a point, high on any mountain, when even the strongest realize they cannot carry everything. Extra gear is cached in the snow, a cherished but heavy camera is left in a tent. Food is rationed more simply. The load is lightened, not because those things are worthless, but because the body can only bear so much in thin air. Your life has been like that too. You have carried memories, expectations, fears and duties up long, steep slopes of time. Some of them you still need, some of them you do not. Tonight, you're allowed to lay a few down, just for a while, at the edge of your bed, like a small pile of gear outside a tent door. On Everest and K2, climbers learn to move in rhythm with something larger than themselves. They follow weather windows, acclimatization cycles, the slow rise and fall of their own energy. There are days for pushing upward and days for staying put, no matter how restless the heart feels. Those who ignore this rhythm often pay dearly. Those who listen find that patience becomes a form of strength. You may have spent many years living against your own rhythm, forcing wakefulness when you were tired, forcing smiles when you were sad. Let this be a different kind of night. Let your body set the pace now, not your worries. Imagine, just for a moment, that your bed is a high, safe camp built on a broad, gentle shoulder of the world. There is no exposure here, no sheer drop waiting just beyond the canvas. The tent walls are your room's darkness. The sleeping bag is your blanket. The soft rush you hear is your own breathing, steady and kind. Outside, far away, the great ridges of Everest and K2 are veiled in cloud. Their storms cannot reach you. Their winds cannot touch you. You are not on their faces. You are in the sanctuary below, where everything harsh has already been filtered out, leaving only the story and the quiet. If your mind tries to climb again, replaying old conversations like tricky pitches, rehearsing future tasks as if they were summit plans, smile at it gently. It is only doing what it knows, trying to keep you safe by preparing, reviewing, planning. Thank it softly, as a climber thanks the rope after a long day. Then invite it to rest too. Imagine untying from that rope and coiling it neatly at your side. There will be other climbs, other days to plan and protect. This one is for trust. Breathe in and feel cool. Imagine mountain air slide down into your lungs, fresh and clean. Breathe out and feel a long, slow release, as if you were watching a great plume of snow drift off a cornice and fall harmlessly into empty space. With each exhale, your muscles loosen a little more. Your thoughts grow slower, like footsteps spacing out on an easy slope. You're not falling behind. You're finally moving at the natural speed of your own heart. Up there on the real summits, dawn sometimes comes suddenly, a line of gold racing across a ridge, shadows shrinking, stars fading. Down here, your own dawn is still far away. There are many hours of darkness left in which you are allowed to sleep deeply, safely, without needing to wake and check the weather of your life. The night will keep watch for you. The story will keep unfolding even as you drift away from it. And you, small and strong and quietly courageous, can let go, letting your awareness sink like a stone through calm water toward a soft, silent bottom of rest. In the thin, bright air above the clouds, even the strongest hearts learn the grace of small goals. Just to that rock, a climber will say, just to that next anchor. They stop measuring the climb in thousands of meters and start counting it in breaths, in steps, in tiny, merciful pieces. This is how impossible things are quietly made possible, not all at once, but moment by gentle moment. You can do the same here. You don't have to cross the whole night in one stride. You only have to breathe to the next exhale, and then the next, and let sleep come when it is ready. Down in the valleys, people often see only the summit photos, the raised flags, the brief celebrations. They do not see the countless hidden acts that made these moments possible. The tent quietly repaired with cold fingers, the water melted slowly from hard ice at dawn, the rope checked and rechecked in the half-dark. Real survival is made of these small, faithful efforts. In your own life, the same is true. Your biggest climbs have not been only the visible turning points, but the little choices, getting up on hard mornings, answering messages when you wanted to disappear, feeding your body when your heart was heavy. Those were your rope checks, your stove work, your quiet daily courage. On Everest and K2, no one can stay at the top for long. The air is too thin, the cold too deep. A few minutes, perhaps a brief circle of photos, and then the long road down must begin. The summit is not a place to live, it is a point to touch and leave. In the same way, the highest, hardest moments of your life, both joyful and painful, were never meant to be permanent. They came, they changed you, and then they passed. You are not required to live forever at the heights of achievement or the depths of grief. You are allowed to walk in gentler country now. Imagine, as you lie here, that you are descending from a long, exhausting expedition. Your pack is lighter, the air grows thicker with each breath. You move from rock and ice to softer snow, from snow to stone, from stone to patches of earth and grass. Each step downward is a movement toward warmth, toward colour, toward the sound of water and birds. You may not see them yet, but they are waiting. Your whole body understands this, relaxing fraction by fraction as it senses safety returning. That is what this night can be for you. A long, kind descent from the sharp edges of the day into a valley where nothing demands, nothing tests, nothing judges. Let your breathing follow that descent. Inhale as if you were drawing in air from a slightly lower camp, richer and more generous. Exhale as though you were leaving a little more altitude behind. Another ridge of tension, another cornice of worry, another icy overhang of self-criticism. With each breath, feel yourself closer to tree line, closer to warmth, closer to the simple miracle of lying down without needing to be more than you are. Somewhere far away, the summits of Everest and K2 gleam under stars you cannot see, unconcerned with who did or did not reach them today. They will stand through many more seasons of storms and calm, but tonight, the only summit that matters is this one, the quiet peak of surrender, where you allow yourself to be soft, to be small, and to be completely, blessedly at rest. In the great ranges, there is an understanding that no one truly conquers a mountain. At best, they visit. The weather allows it. The snow holds long enough. The body endures. Then they leave, and the peak remains, indifferent, untouched in its essence. The same is true of the highest moments in your life, the days when you felt unstoppable or unbearably broken. You passed through them. They did not become the whole of you. You are more than any single triumph, more than any single failure. You're the one who keeps walking step after step, breath after breath through every changing sky. Think of the rivers that begin in these ice fields, thin threads of meltwater that trickle from beneath glaciers, growing into torrents that carve valleys and feed cities. The climbers who tie into their ropes drink from those streams, then return home and drink from cups at kitchen tables far away. The same water cycles through both worlds, the high and the ordinary, the extreme and the everyday. In your life, the same spirit that helped you through your hardest hours is present in your quietest ones. The courage that once carried you through storms also helps you wash dishes, answer messages, and sit with your own heart when it is uncertain. Sometimes on long expeditions, there is a rest day when the team does almost nothing. They sit outside their tents in the sun, feet bare for the first time in weeks, parka unzipped, faces turned toward warmth. Some read, some mend gear, some simply watch the glittering slopes and think of nothing in particular. These days are not wasted. They are what make the big efforts possible. Your life needs these rest days too, even if they come disguised as evenings when you do nothing. Tonight is one of them. Thing you do in this hour has to be impressive. It only has to be gentle. You might imagine for a moment a line of prayer flags strung not between rocks, but between the moments of your own story. Each flag a color for something you have lived. Loss, joy, confusion, patience, small victories, quiet forgiveness. The wind of time has already passed through them, carrying lessons you may not fully see. You don't have to analyze those colors now. Just know that your life, like a mountain path, is not empty. It is decorated with meaning, even if the patterns are only visible from a great height you cannot yet reach. Let your consciousness grow softer around the edges, like clouds wrapping themselves around a ridge at dusk. Thoughts may still move through, but slower now, quieter, like distant avalanches that rumble far away without ever reaching your camp. If an old fear appears, you can greet it the way a seasoned climber greets a known hazard, with respect, but not panic. I see you, you might say inwardly, and I am still safe here. Fear does not have to vanish for you to sleep. It only has to loosen its grip. Feel again the simple miracle of your body, the steady drum of your heart, faithful through every climb you have taken, whether up real mountains or through invisible trials. The rhythm of your lungs, tirelessly exchanging the world outside for the world within. You're not broken because you are tired. You're not weak because you need rest. Even Everest and K2 spend most of their days wrapped in cloud, doing nothing but standing. You too are allowed to simply be. No summit, no story, no proof required. Just this breath and the next, and the slow, quiet approach of sleep. Good night.